But the motivation for the South African Book Fair is really ultimately a goal to transform our country, to make a contribution to the transformation of our country. You remember President Cyril Ramaphosa doing his Tumamina thing. We've been trying to make a change, contribute to making a change for quite a while. And so that call was, for us, this is what we do. This is how we try to make a difference. You must have heard the stat by now about the problems with reading comprehension, the problems with South Africans purportedly not reading, the problems that black people don't read, the statements that people don't own books, and that is actually very true. That is based on research that was done by the South African Book Development Council, which found out that very few people in this country actually own books in their homes. And there is a study that believes that you have to own a minimum of 15 to 16 books in order to be successful. So if we're talking about growing our country, if we're talking about providing opportunities for this generation, previous generations, but especially the young people, how are we going to do that? We firmly believe, I'm from a library background, and the South African Book Development Council has a broader agenda as it covers the book industry. However, we all believe that reading contributes to success in the future. If you look at people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, you name any of the big names in contemporary culture, iconic names, you will find out that they have been reading. You go further back to Mandela, you go even further back into prehistory and the Greek philosophers, and you just trail a line that has this thread of reading and the value of reading, the value of knowledge and the value of education. Now, what we read is absolutely important, because another one of the challenges that we have in our country is that people's voices have not been heard. And people are reading what they believe to be the culture that is not theirs, a culture that has been foisted on them. And so how do you tell a person you have to read and you're going to be successful, but not in your terms, not in your identity, but in terms of another place, another space, another philosophy? What are the stories that your mother or grandparents taught you? What are the stories in your community? The stories that are available to you might very well not be those stories.
This year's program is quite jam-packed. We have gone interactive on the program because it is so difficult to keep the young ones focused on if the session is long. So we have a magic tent which is especially curated for them. So there's going to be the playing of musical instruments, there's going to be puzzles, we have the library of the blind coming through, which will be in the magic tent working with sight impaired children. We also have storytelling. I mean, my love, first love, storytelling, and it's so gratifying when you tell a story to a child and you can actually see the impact on their faces. So storytelling, we have gone very big on storytelling, indigenous languages. We have 3-4 storytellers coming from the Eastern Cape. We have one Wamupedi from Limpopo. We have obviously the most lovable storyteller of all times, Dr. Gcina Mhlophe, who's going to be spending 3 days with us at the fair. Storytelling is not only book-based. We've also gone very global. We're also looking at illustrations. We're looking at how social media can be used as a medium to tell stories. And for the youth, we have workshops for them, especially on Friday, because it's a dedicated school program. So it's not open to the public. So we will be busing about 1,000 kids from disadvantaged areas coming in on the day from 10 to 2 o'clock, spending a full day at the fair. Workshops, reading workshops, because what we have found out, especially me as a parent, once a child leaves high school, they think reading is only meant for school, and if in tertiary they don't take subjects, humanities, which will require them to read further, they don't pick up a book. So we want to instill the love of reading from a very, very young age. So it's important for us also as parents to read to the little ones, and reading for them It's another form of storytelling. And writing. You know, we talk about Afrocentric stories. We talk about stories which are representative of us. We want to read about the people who have lived like us, who look like us, but if we don't write those stories, where are we going to get them? So it's important as well to encourage the youth to write about their experiences. You know, experience is very, very important. Your story matters. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you live, your story matters. And comics. I mean, it's been a year of superheroes last year. Big Panther was quite big, but we also have two very lovable guys, Lois Mkhize and Clyde Beach. They have written the Kwezi series, which has now been translated into all 11 indigenous languages. I love it. The heroes, they look like me, they look like you, they have my hue, they have my hair, and they are not out of this world. You know, they do ordinary things. So we also want to encourage children to think of themselves as bigger than where they are, bigger than where they come from. So anyone can be a hero.
Make sure we bring to the public an offering that included international writers, the best of South African writing, new talent, writers from the continent, philosophy, poetry, cookery, and also illustrators. We wanted to focus on illustrators. So I'm proud to say that we did tick all those boxes. Some of the highlights would be Sarah Ladipo Manyika, who's an African icon, and she's coming all the way from Los Angeles to join us. She's really one of the highlights of the book fair. We also have Elizabeth Asbrink, who's coming from Sweden. She's a journalist and historian. So the Swedish embassy kindly sponsored her trip to South Africa, so we're very proud to feature her. But I think what will really appeal to the younger generation, for instance, would be the Poetry Cafe, which is named after Kiorapetse Khotsitsile. And there the lineup is just incredible. We've got Upile Chisala from Malawi. We have transgender poet Lee Mokobe. We have our very own Vangi Gansho, larger than life. And we have a poet from Jamaica, Debbie Young, who is just extraordinary. So we're very excited about that program. And then new this year would be the chefs. We'll be featuring Mogao Seshwene, the Lazy Makoti, on her birthday on the 8th of September. So we'll have a whole birthday bash, a cookery demonstration. And you might have heard of chefs Lebo and Tebo. They are identical twins. They look amazing. They are launching a new cookbook in September. So they will be at the fair. We're very proud to feature them. And stalwarts such as Johnny Steinberg, who's coming all the way from Oxford University, so very, very lucky to have him here. Fred Kumalo will be there, so another icon for us.
Focus is on emerging people, on the current generation, and how do we endow them with the skills to make them become the leaders of this country and of this continent that we believe them to be. It's fine to recognize people's potential, but we have an obligation to take that a step further. And part of that reality, or attempting to assist in that regard, is what the South African Book Fair does. And there's much of that in 2019.
For more stories like these, go to www.social-tv.co.za. Subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on our social mediums.